All right, I want to keep this market conversation going. We're joined now by Chris Versace, Tematica's Research Chief Investment Officer. Chris, great to have you with us. So I'm just looking at the market action right now, green across the board, but it hasn't been that way over the last couple of weeks. How long do you think we'll be in this choppy environment in the markets?
I think actually we're going to be in this probably for most of the summer. I hate to say that, but I think that's the reality. When we think of the push-pull of what we're getting the positive of the reopening trade, right, where the economic data is coming in better than expected. We saw that with today's durable orders. You commented about the way that the weekly jobless claims are going. So, confirming signs that things are heating up. But when we dig into the durable orders, the orders were up 2.3% month over month. Shipments, however, continue to lag. To me, that says we continue to see supply chain shortages that are leading to these inflationary prices that we keep hearing about. And I think it's going to take some time for capacity to come up until we start to see supply chains return to more normalized levels. And then I think we'll be in a little more balance. And perhaps that is what the Fed is looking for when they talk about by September with more normalized patterns, not necessarily the transitionary data that we're seeing these days, or at least what it says we're seeing these days.
Chris, you bring up inflation, which is, at the forefront for investors right now. We keep talking about it, I feel like, every day. What are you doing with that idea of inflation? The fact that it will probably get worse before it gets better, and how are you hedging your portfolio, if at all?
Well, I think the first way to look at it is where can you put that to use, right? What companies are benefiting from this pricing environment? We've all heard the story where lumber is up, anywhere 3 to 5-fold, depending on what you're talking about. I think the thing to do is look for companies that can pass those prices through, keep them sticky, and perhaps not give up as much of that pricing later on. I personally think that we're going to see price increases come from the likes of, say, Starbucks, which, as we know, are very sticky. Tonight, Costco Wholesale reports. I wouldn't be surprised if they discuss a membership price increase. The last time they did it, it was around $5, arguably meaningless relative to the overall cost. But it's something that would drop a lot to their bottom line. So I think we're going to start to hear more about that in the coming weeks. In terms of how do I protect the portfolio on the downside, what I would be looking to use, and we have used this in one of the portfolios I manage, is just inverse ETFs to really act as a market hedge should this start to get away from investor perception.
Chris, also wondering where you're seeing some of the biggest opportunities right now.
Sure. So I think, as some folks know, we look at the world thematically at Tematica. So we look for structural changes. And there's three that I'll quickly mention. The first is digital infrastructure. We're in the midst of perhaps one of the most massive upgrades we've ever seen. A lot of people talk about 5G, and that's certainly part of it. There's Wi-Fi 6, there's data center buildouts. And we think of what happened over the last year with the shift to work from home, learn from home. That is going to continue. Businesses are exploring other modalities of working with hybrid time. I think that's going to continue to drive what we're talking about. Meanwhile, the real driving forces of streaming video, Internet of Things, that is just going to continue to drive demand on digital infrastructure over the next several years. The second one is cleaner living. We all look at the shift in consumer preferences. They're looking for organic, natural, GMO, better for you products. And that's just not only in the food that we eat, but the products that people are putting in their bodies, on their bodies, what people are putting in their home. And if you think of the Honest Company IPO, that's one example. Oatly would be another one. So we see a lot of power behind that. And then the third one, really coming out of the pandemic as well, is the accelerated shift towards digital payments. Not exactly a new idea, but when you think of the amount of transactions around the planet that are still done with check and cash, there's a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. Again, companies, you might think Visa, MasterCard, American Express, yes, but then you take a look at some of the fintech companies like a Square that continues to expand its product suite, including treasury services, and now just this past week announcing products that will actually take it head-to-head against JP Morgan. I think there's a lot more room to run in that theme and the other two as well.
What about the crypto theme? You and I don't talk a lot about cryptocurrency when you're on.
No.
I think I'm going to know the answer to this question. But are you playing in this space at all, or into areas that affect crypto, like blockchain, for instance?
So crypto, no. I will tell you that as part of some of our themes, one of the things that we're trying to figure out is like longer term, 5G is going to allow for a very pronounced telemedicine, and you can even read things about telesurgery. So how does blockchain fit into privacy in that realm? That's something we're trying to figure out. And I haven't quite done it yet, but I do think there will be applications both in digital payments and fintech for blockchain, as well as in digital infrastructure and probably some of the other themes that we're noodling. But Bitcoin, I heard that a lot of people are going to Vegas. That's probably the better place to go.
All right, Chris Versace, Chief Investment Officer at Tematica Research. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.